Can you maybe just chat a little bit about why you were involved, what it means, and why you care about agricultural land protection?
So I was driving to Calgary, and I got this phone call from this farmer named Gord Visser, who I'd never met, never talked to before. And he says, Michael, my name's Gord Visser. I would like to donate 100,000 pounds of potatoes to the citizens of Edmonton to make a point about how valuable my community is. And so I suspected that would be the last time anybody would phone me and make that sort of offer.
And that really got me thinking about, how people do value agricultural land and the benefits it brings. You mentioned a few things, local food, the idea of where our food comes from and the value of that. What about the notion of the rural aesthetic as well, where people want to leave the city and see agricultural lands nearby?
Right. So the interesting thing about the Great Potato Giveaway is 20,000 people came. So we had no idea the kind of response it would elicit. We got a call from the police about 10:30 in the morning saying, "What the heck are you guys doing? Why didn't you let us know?" And we said we didn't let you know because we didn't think that many people would come. Yeah. And it was mayhem, a beautiful mayhem. And it sort of said two things to me, because the attraction of free potatoes isn't the thing, because potatoes are essentially free in the grocery store. They're the next thing to free. They're as cheap as you can get. So people don't need to come for free potatoes. It was the experience of what was out there. And I think the previous work we had done has elevated a conversation about the mystery of that place. Like, what does this place actually mean for the city? And that conversation kind of blew up into this really amazing, Edmonton's got a really great culinary scene. It's got a great farmers market network. It's got lots of young entrepreneurs that are interested in this kind of city and this kind of lifestyle. Then you layer in, the increased awareness and interest in people being healthier, making healthy food choices. And at the end of it all, that resulted in, the food and ag strategy for the City of Edmonton being kind of cooked into the municipal development plan. And that resulted in Fresh, which is, I think, what I'd still describe as our sort of first and practice run at really thinking about local food and a food economy at a big city level.
One of the things, so we've gone across the province and spoken with people in different municipalities, big and small, and we've heard about, the value that people place in agricultural land. Mm-hmm. But we've also heard, another side, and that's the development pressure that communities face to both raise, funds for their community through growth, but also the idea that a lot of people in Alberta feel that if you own land, you should be able to do whatever you want with it. You should be able to develop it if you want. We've got people who maybe own land and want to retire and sell it, or developers who invested. And so there's these sort of these different visions or different values that bump up against one another, saying that we should protect this land for agriculture, or we should develop it, and that people should have the right to develop it if they want to.
Right.
It's not a legal right, but there's just a sense that we should allow people to do that. And even individuals we've spoken with, those are contrasting values that they hold at the same time. How do you reconcile that, or how do you look at that as a councillor or as an individual who's just concerned about these issues?
Well, I think that it's always a healthy tension between private property rights and public policy. I think that's the nature of our civilized democratic society, is that those things bump into each other, and that's why we have universities and researchers and thinkers that can help us sort of navigate that otherwise jagged terrain between those two things. Mm-hmm. And so my view is that we have lots of regulations and laws and acts related to water.
Yep.
And water runs through private property, but you can't do things in that water that's on your private property because it's on your private property. There's still rules that apply. Same thing applies to our air sheds. And we have an increasing intelligent understanding of cumulative impacts of the decisions that private individuals make on private land, aided by private property rights, what those impacts cumulatively are on our public and our greater common good, which affect our capacity as private people to live, to be masters of our own destiny. If we're creating healthcare issues through unsafe drinking water or unsafe air. And I think the same question is about soil and food and land, and that it's fair ball for us to debate land use regulations that in some ways, I wouldn't say limit what people can do on their private property, but create a sort of different vision for land use and what land is for.